My good people, message of the day for episode number 26 come to us by the 3-time Country Music Award winning, Grammy nominated artist Jelly Roll. And he had this to say about it's never too late to follow your dreams.
There is something poetic about a 39-year-old man winning New Artist of the Year. I don't know where you're at in your life or what you're going through, but I want to tell you to keep going, baby. I want to tell you success is on the other side of it. I want to tell you it's going to be okay. I want to tell you that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, because what's in front of you is so much more important than what's behind you. Let's party, Nashville!
Guys, listen. It's never too late to change the direction of your life. Keep it honest with you. Your thoughts about yourself can change. It's never too late to go back into school and further your education. It's never too late to change your career. It's literally never too late to get back in the gym and try to get back in shape. If you're blessed to wake up every morning in this complicated thing we call life, ladies and gentlemen, you always have a chance to make a crack at it. Listen, I was that guy. I promise you. My friends know me very well. I was that guy that always put a timetable on things. Let's say if I wanted a house, but I didn't get a house by a certain age, I felt like, why even bother, because I'm a failure. See, we have to change that mindset. If you have the desire and motivation, wherever you're at in your life, to want to switch directions or follow a dream that maybe you didn't follow because something got in your way when you were younger, do it. Listen, Joe Biden is 1,000 years old. He runs the country, and no one's saying anything to him. So I promise you, if that corpse could run the country, you at the ripe old age of 40 plus, or however you old watching this podcast, you can literally go follow your dreams and make a crack at it, ladies and gentlemen. There's no excuse, because honestly, the only time you won't be able to follow your dreams is, unfortunately, when we all meet our maker. And then at that point, it probably would be too late. And with that out the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into episode number 26. My people, what is up? This is your boy Marc. You know where I'm at. You know what you're watching. If you don't, I'll remind you, this whole little thing right here is Don't Kill the Message podcast, episode number 26. What is up, people? How's everyone? Hope everyone's blessed. Hope everyone's healthy. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know my Thanksgiving was real low-key. My Thanksgiving was real nice and quiet. We didn't do anything. We didn't have a lot of family over. I went and I seen my mom pulled up on me and my youngest bro. We bought Mom Dukes a plate and we just hung out, and I love my mom. She's so funny. She's low-key funny without trying to be funny. She's like old people funny at this point. But so I just pulled up on her, and it was really good to see her. Now listen, I want to apologize in advance. If I cough during this whole podcast, just know your boy's been fighting a cold, man, for like the last week and a half. I've really been trying to push through. So let me tell you how I got sick real quick. In between the break, I went and I did a podcast. I put them on my old podcast. I don't know if you guys know, but I used to do a podcast called What's Your Point, the podcast. And they invited me to kind of sit down and chop it up with them and be a part of 2 episodes. And I'll let you guys know when those episodes come out. So anyway, I go and I pulled up and I did the episodes with them. But when I left, man, their studio, I don't know, man, I came home and I was cold, man. You ever know when you're getting sick, like you've been super cold, and then the super cold turns into super hot, and it was just like it was a whole nightmare. But I've been shaking this cough ever since then, man. And it seems like every time now, the cough is getting better, but it seems like every time I laugh, it want to come out and just like low-key embarrass me. So I don't know if I'm going to be dry on this episode, bro. I don't know if I can laugh as much as I want to. I'm going to laugh. You're just going to have to deal with me laughing and coughing. Just is what it is. All right, yo, let's get into the show real quick because I ain't going to waste time today. Yo, the Knicks ain't bad. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm not even going to sit here and act like I told you we weren't going to be bad. I made a super prediction. I even put Mr. T on the screen and told you it was going to be pain. But let's get into my beloved Knicks. I'm not making no predictions on the Knicks because I only got one prediction. You ever seen Rocky 3 when Mr. T was like, I predict pain?
Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
it really hasn't been that bad. The Knicks are not bad at all. The Knicks are so not that bad that the Knicks are in the wild card for the NBA's new in-season tournament. And I believe, because I'm recording this show on December 1st, I believe the championship or the playoff rounds in regards to the in-tournament season is coming up very soon. So the Knicks aren't doing bad, man. Let me pull up the Knicks records for you right now. Now, mind you, the Knicks won yesterday again, 119-106. We beat the Raptors. The Knicks are 12-7. I literally sat here and told you guys that the Knicks were going to be horrible. I think I found the sports hack. When I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to start saying that all the teams that I love and adore, they're going to suck. And because clearly my predictions, if you watch the show, every time I predict something, it never goes the way I say it was. I'm like the reverse of Notre Dame. So I'm going to just start saying that my teams are going to have a horrible season and clearly to put that in the universe, and then we're just going to have a good season. I'm going to start doing that. Yeah, so the Knicks aren't doing that bad. Even Julius Randle was balling, man. And as soon as I talk crap about Julius Randle one episode, here's why. Julius Randle's back, man. And Julius Randle is off to a horrible start. First of all, Julius Randle comes back, right? And he cuts his hair. He don't even have braids anymore. Now, he's pissing me off when he had hair. Julius Randle without hair is driving me nuts. It's only been 5 games into the season, bro. I'm like, yo, what are we doing, Julius Randle? I know Julius Randle doesn't watch this podcast. Nobody does. But I know he really does it. But I know for sure that as soon as I put that podcast out, Julius Randle started balling, man. So the Knicks are going to have a horrible season. The Knicks will not make the playoffs. And Julius Randle will continue to play horrible. Let's see how it goes. All right, so, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's so much stuff to talk about, in regards to politics, in regards to just everything. So it's been a super long time. Guys, let's get into a little bit of politics as usual, shall we? Now, listen. It's so funny. So, the Republicans, I don't even want to say the Republicans had a debate. The Republicans did have a debate maybe like a month and a half ago, but I didn't really want to talk about it because, let's be honest, they're doing these debates, and it's really just to see who's coming in second place, because Donald Trump has literally now pulled up to not one single debate, and he's literally like 30 points ahead of most of these candidates, right, as far as the polling goes. Now, I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I do. And when I first heard him talk, I said that he reminded me of the Republican Obama, and I said that he's going to leapfrog Ron DeSantis and probably be number 2, snipping at the heels of Donald Trump. Guys, I know nothing. I don't even know why I'm doing a podcast. Clearly, everything I say, I'm just talking shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. Because Ramaswamy, I don't even think is breaking 8 percentage points at this point. I really don't. So it's really a 3-way race. It's not even a race. Guys, Trump is going to get the nom. It just is what it is. However, though, it's Donald Trump and it's Ron DeSantis, and it seems like Nikki Haley is like polling third in most places. Now, why am I talking about this? Recently, there was a debate with Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is a governor of Florida. And Ron DeSantis had a debate with Gavin Newsom. It was called the debate between the blue and the red state, right? Now, here's my thing about that debate. I don't see why Ron DeSantis took this debate. I really don't. Because, honestly, Gavin Newsom hasn't officially declared himself running for as a Democrat for the next presidential election. Now, some people are saying that he's running a shadow campaign. Shadow campaign pretty much means that he's just kind of testing waters to see how people feel about him. So anyway, these two are debating. Ron DeSantis pretty much telling Gavin Newsom that if you take an aerial shot of one of the cities in California, San Francisco, that 95% of it is made up of elephant shit.
There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except when a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist dictator, but they're not willing to do it for their own people.
or human feces or whatever. So they're going back and forth. Ron DeSantis even threw a shot saying that Gavin Newsom's own father-in-law had to get the hell out of California, and he moved down to the state of Florida.
So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he was really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. So we do count Gavin's in-laws as some of the people that have fled California and come to the state of Florida. And why are we...
Why I'm bringing this up. Why are they doing this? I don't understand the need for this particular debate. Was it entertaining? Yeah. Did Gavin Newsom throw some shots at Ron DeSantis? Yes, he did. But I just don't see why is the need to debate someone who currently hasn't put his hat in the ring, because sometimes that can expose you to stuff, and maybe it doesn't even matter, because maybe DeSantis poll numbers are just what they are. He hasn't gone up he hasn't gone down. He's kind of been running at the same numbers for months now, so maybe it doesn't matter. But when I saw that these two were debating, I just didn't understand it. I really didn't. Now, here's the thing. I would love to come on here and talk about the Democrat debates and give you some light to that, because it sounds like that I'm a pure conservative at this point in life. By the way, let me get into that before I talk about the Democratic. So last night I was bored, right? Super bored. I had nothing to do, right? So I'm making notes for the show. I'm getting ready for the show. And I don't know. So me and the wife was talking, and I was like, I'm a registered independent, right? At this point. Well, not at this point. I'm a registered independent. I've been that way for years, right? Because I don't like to pledge an allegiance to one party or the other. So I don't know. So I had the smart idea. Hey, let me go online and take like a political test to see how I feel as far as my views, and let me see where I line up, like with which party. Yo, bro, I took this test, and as soon as I was like 12 questions into this test, I was like, uh-oh. I see where this is going. Automatically. Long story short, I finished the test. I finished the political party test, and I'm 86% Republican. According to this test, I'm there. I'm already there, man. I just switched to the dark side. So I'm like, man, maybe I should just give up the independent tag and just kind of let the flag wave, bro. Just say, this is what I am right now. But I just found that super funny, especially me, because I grew up a lifetime Democrat. So I was like, Jesus Christ, man, times are changing. So anyway, getting back to the Democrats. They're not having debates, man. They're no fun. Here's why. Nobody wants to put Joe Biden in front of your face. Nobody. The man could barely walk up the steps. He could barely say a coherent sentence. He could. I mean, he's not as bad as Mitch McConnell freezing and having like stand-up seizures in front of you. But Joe Biden has not debated anybody. The closest person, as far as polling goes, running behind Joe Biden when he was with the Democratic Party was Robert Kennedy Jr. But it got to the point, even he left it. He's a Kennedy, bro. The family is longtime Democrats, so times are bad. If Robert Kennedy Jr. left the Democratic Party, is now running as an independent. But they're no fun because no one's having a debate. So I don't know what's going on, but I just thought that was funny. Not even funny, just kind of like interesting and trippy. Okay, so let's stay a little bit on the politics, because there's a lot of things going in New York right now that I'm not sure if you people are aware of. I don't know if you heard it. I don't know if this sort of thing, you pay attention to. Maybe you're too busy worrying about P-Diddy and sexual allegations. And of course, we got to talk about that. So we're going to get to that later. But let's talk about New York City. Now, as everyone know, New York City has a super migrant problem. Now, I've talked about it before, ad nauseum, but it came back up recently because Mayor Adams said that New York City, well, he told us months ago, and he kind of was building a slow build up. So when he did pull the trigger, New Yorkers wouldn't be so surprised. So budget cuts has been proposed, and they will take effect soon. And the people that are getting in 5% budget cuts across the board to certain city agencies. Now, these agencies are education, which is public schools, law enforcement, which is the NYPD, and I believe sanitation is also getting hit with 5% budget cuts. So that means you're probably going to have more rats, more crime, and dumber kids, which is going to lead to more crime, but you're not going to have a lot of cops helping you out because they're cutting them 5%. Now, let's talk about the NYPD real quick. Now, I was reading an article that low-key, not even low-key, like very, very high-key, that a lot of cops are just doing their 20 and they're not even getting the full 100% pension, and they're getting the hell out of Dodge because they're saying they don't feel like they have the backing of the city and the mayor or whatever, how they feel, and that the city's just become a place that they really don't want to police. Now, a lot of these people are taking their New York expertise or whatever you want to call it as far as law enforcement, and they're going to places like Florida or Arizona or Texas where they feel like cops are more embraced down there. So that's what's going on as far as law enforcement in New York City. Now, why are we getting 5% budget cuts in New York? What's going on? So the mayor said the reason why we're getting these budget cuts is because of the migrant problem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, since last year, 2022, I'm going to tell you what happened. Okay, so this started around August 5th, right? Because I want to kind of set a timeline for you guys. So this happened around August 5th, 2022. Okay, so we all know we have a problem at the border. It just is what it is. You feel bad for these people because, they're trying to escape places that are probably way less worse than where we live, and they're trying to get the hell out of Dodge. So these people are coming on. I mean, they're coming in, right? But here's the problem. They're coming in droves, first of all, and they're coming in illegally, and a lot of people aren't being vetted. Now, Governor Abbott, who is the governor of Texas, he announced the arrival of the first group of migrants bused to New York City from Texas. The migrants are being dropped off. The migrants were being dropped off. Mind you, this is August 5th, 2022. The migrants were being dropped off this morning on a green bus at the Port Authority Terminal. In addition, Washington, D.C., New York will now be drop-off locations for the busing strategy as part of the governor's response to the Biden administration's open border policy. So Biden had open border policies. Everyone's coming in. They're coming through Texas because it's literally right there. A lot of these people are from Guatemala. Governor Abbott said absolutely not.
I think that the Governor Abbott's, what he's doing is just so inhumane.
Mayor Eric Adams today standing by his word that New York City, which is a shelter city, welcomes all asylum seekers with open arms.
This is a place where the Statue of Liberty sits in the harbor, and we say, bring us your tide. Those who are yearning to be free. That's what these asylum seekers are doing.
People or states that tend to be ran by Democrats, I'm just telling you what it is, they say, you know what, this is wrong. This is low-key racist. You know what, if it was us, we would take these people and we would embrace them and we would find shelter for them. So Governor Abbott put on a poker face and he said, word, bet, load up the buses. And he starts sending people he wanted to see if their bus can cash checks at their mouth with writing, right? So that's what happened. And so then you fast forward, and then you get a whole bunch of migrants. I think New York City has over, what is the number? And if I say it wrong, I'll put it up. Do we have like over 100,000? 100,000 migrants coming into the city. Now, here's the thing. Everyone has seen the videos of downtown hotels being overpacked with migrants because now we're at the point where we have nowhere to put these people who were promised that if you come into America illegally, we'll take care of you. Well, the jig is up. We can't take care of you, especially in New York City. Why? Because we don't have no money. We didn't even take care of our own people. So now the mayor, Eric Adams, is now complaining and crying and saying that he is not getting enough help from the federal government and assistance to help with our migrants problems. So how can you fix this? How can you fix this? How can you make this problem workable? What can you do? Who can you take from? The great people of New York will suffer. So we'll give you less cops on the street. We'll give you less trash pickup. The NYPD is not that they freeze hiring. The next 5 classes has been put on hold. Now the funds and mind you, the funds that need to be allocated towards our public schools, and they probably need more money than what they're probably currently getting. That's a 5% slash.
Budget cuts across every city agency, from libraries to schools and even the NYPD.
And no surprise, he's blaming the cuts on the migrant crisis. Fox 5's Morgan McKay joins us now in studio with a closer look at which services are going to be cut. Morgan.
Stephen, Natasha, today City Hall officials announced they are enacting around $4 billion in budget cuts over the next year and a half that will cancel the hiring of new police officers, slash the education budget by $1 billion, and close libraries on Sundays. City officials say this is all due to the migrant crisis, and without additional federal aid, these cuts will only continue to grow. These cuts will also go into effect immediately.
That would mean disruptions to the services we all rely on.
In a pre-recorded video, Mayor Eric Adams outlined expansive 5% budget cuts at every city agency that are expected to happen again 2 more times next year. And nothing is untouched. For the first time in decades, the NYPD will have fewer than 30,000 employees, and they will also be postponing the next 5 classes of officers.
So this is all taking place, which leads me to my, do I want to say editorial? Fuck it, why not? Which leads me to my editorial. Why you keep voting for these people? Why? Here's the thing that maybe is why I'm 82% Republican at this point as I approach my 48th birthday. Is because Democrats always want to help people. Democrats care about people's feelings. Democrats want to coddle you. Democrats are like enablers. You know what I mean? You understand what I mean by when I say that? That's like if you have a person that is on drugs and this person is suffering, but you keep on giving this person money to go back into the street and buy drugs, you're an enabler. You're not trying to fix the problem. You're putting a Band-Aid and money over it. And as we know, Democrats love to give away some free shit, and they love to give you money and phones. All we need is you to vote for us, baby. But now it's coming back. Now it's coming back to hurt the people, especially the people, the lower income people of New York City, because you have to be Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder to not see that the city and the state does not go as hard for their people or their constituaries or whatever I'm trying to say, just like they do the migrants that just got here. Now, Biden was like, okay, they're here now. You try to give them work, permits, XYZ, try to get them on their feet. Guys, do you see how fast that happened? Now, mind you, this is a slow crawl because even though they said they were going to give the migrants work permits, it really hasn't panned out as much as they thought it would. But what about the people that need jobs or can't find jobs? What's going on? Now, listen. If you listen to the right side, they always tell you how Democrat-run cities are full of crime and we're just all out here running amok in blue cities, and blue cities aren't safe. Now, I have to be honest with you because I don't want to come here and just be a talking head, if I'm not already that. But statistically speaking, crime has gone down in New York City, according to the NYP website. But here's the thing that I noticed. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like something is always going to happen, especially when you see reports about neighbors going upstairs and shooting their neighbors over a noise dispute, or a mother and her 2 kids found dead, stabbed to death in the projects, or another shooting in Brooklyn. So even though statistically speaking the numbers are down, New York City, it doesn't feel it. It's always it feels like there's an aura, and you talk to a guy who works for the city, it feels like there's an aura of you always just gotta, keep your head on a swivel because something can happen. Here's what I want to say to wrap this up about. Well, no, I'm not wrapping anything up, but here's what I want to say to kind of put a pin in this particular point, and then we're going to move on to something else. When it's time to vote next year for the president, and when it's time to vote for the governor of whatever state you are, and the mayor, whatever, I want you to go on, and I'll put the website that I went on. I want you to go on line, take this test. If you care about things like that, or maybe you don't, maybe you're just going to vote Democrat all across the board, and who gives a shit, right? But I implore you to take this test and to kind of see where you stand politically. You'll be surprised. You know, there was a poll that came out, and by the way, I don't trust polls because I remember when I voted for Hillary, and that one poll said that Hillary was going to win, and we all seen what happened with that. But there's a poll that came out that said that 22% of black men said that if the election was to start today, that they would vote for Donald Trump. Guys, I'm telling you, black men, like real black dudes, are more conservative and Republican than they even understand. It's just that we've been brainwashed to vote a certain way since our granddaddies were able to participate in the voting process. But I promise you, if you really go sit down, just take the time to take this test, you might be in the middle. You might be in the middle towards the right, in the middle towards the left. But no one is I mean, unless you just, full left or full right. But I promise you, black men in particular, you are probably more conservative than you even understand. So let's finish talking more about New York, because there's a lot of stuff in New York. I want you guys to really be educated. So Governor Hochul, who I did not vote for, by the way, I voted for the other guy. Governor Hochul came out with a rule called Rule 213. Mark, what are you talking about? What is Rule 13? 213, Rule 213. I would tell you exactly what Rule 213 is. And then you're going to say, well, okay, so New York Governor Kathy Hochul is trying to make or build quarantine camps, in which people can be held against their will if they have the COVID-19 or other diseases. Now, I'm reading this from the AP News. Now, the AP News said that this is a false statement. They wanted to fact check it. This is fake news. Don't spread things like
Joe,
this.
in recent news, New York State Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State Department of Health issued an emergency regulation granting them the authority to create isolation and quarantine camps for any citizens with any infectious disease without proof of illness. However, a successful lawsuit filed by a New York attorney has halted the governor's measures. Here now,
Kathy Hochul introduced Rule 213, and this rule states that, hey, we have the power to send you somewhere safe or order for you not to come out of your residence if you are sick or if you have some sort of contagion disease. So imagine if this rule existed in 2020 and COVID had, came out, which it did in 2020, you would be forced to not leave your house under law, or you would be forced to go inside of housing situations and they deem was safe for you to come back out into the general population. Now, people from the left are going to say, hey, man, this is not a quarantine camp. Guys, I don't know about you, but anyone who says that and they're going to take let's say if I'm sick, right now I got a cough, and someone come knocking at my door and they take me in my coughiness and they stick me inside of a place that is for people with the cough and you can't leave. What is that called? I'm being quarantined for a cough. It sounds like a camp. May not have tents. It might be a room. I don't know what it be, but that's what it sounds like to people. Why am I bringing this up? Why do I think this is a big deal? I'm going to tell you why I think this is a big deal. Yeah, I'm on my conspiracy theory bag today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you noticed, but this is the way episode number 26 is going to go. What is going on here? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Heard of white lung syndrome? No? Well, let me let you know what the white lung syndrome is. Okay, white lung syndrome. Hold on, let me see. No, because I want to tell you what white lung is.
A mysterious pneumonia outbreak similar to China is causing concern worldwide. This respiratory illness, termed as white lung syndrome, is primarily affecting children aged 3 to 8, and this illness is not always responsive to antibiotics. The outbreak is linked to a newly identified strain of Mycoplasma pneumonia, a common bacteria responsible for respiratory infections. The syndrome is characterized by distinctive white patches on chest X-rays and includes various respiratory conditions such as acute respiratory distress syndrome. In recent months, Ohio in the US has reported nearly 150 cases of pneumonia, all affecting children with an average age of around 8 years. This surge is similar to the situation in China, sparking global concern. Massachusetts also said that it's being hit by a wave of white lung pneumonia in children after Europe reported a surge in cases and hospitalizations. The mysterious illness combines various illnesses including influenza, SARS-CoV-2, RSV, and Mycoplasma pneumonia, according to the Chinese government. This spike.
Now remember when COVID-19 came out and a couple of months into it, we found out that this thing really doesn't affect children. That it's just kind of like some people just have comorbidities. Some people are just out of shape and just get hit with it. Healthy people will seem to be okay, but it seems to not really touch children. Even if they got it, they got like flu symptoms and were pretty much good. This particular one that's coming out of China again seems to be affecting children. This primarily is being seen in Beijing and northern regions. The rising cases have been making headlines in China and raising concerns internationally as Chinese doctors are working overtime to care for the huge flood of small patients. But health experts say there is no immediate cause for international concern. That's what they said last time, bro. I literally remember I got a phone call and it was 2019, the end of 2019. And my homeboy was telling me about something called COVID-19. And I said, bro, this is America, baby. We don't get diseases. We're good, okay? That's for them over there. That's for them who wear their masks. We're good in America. 3 months later, the whole country shut down. But they're saying there's nothing to worry about right now internationally right now, which include the new cases are not on the scale of the initial COVID-19 outbreak and are not due to any new and unusual disease, according to scientists. All I'm saying is this, and like I said, I do a podcast, What Do I Know? I can't even properly pick sport teams to win or lose. All I'm saying is this, with that new rule, and with this thing that seems to be emerging from China, let's just kind of all be aware about it. Let's just kind of all read and go, okay? Because I'm telling you right now, if we get 1 to 2 or 3 cases in New York City, and mind you, when this case first came out, this Rule 213, someone appealed it, and I'll put the information below.
In a lawsuit over the state's controversial COVID quarantine regulations has been overturned following arguments heard in September. An appellate court ruled the state's commissioner of health is allowed to issue quarantine orders to control the disease. The ruling states the plaintiffs lacked standing in their complaint that the regulations overstep the separation of powers. The decision comes after a lawsuit was filed against Governor Kathy Hochul and the Department of Health. The plaintiffs won that. Then State Attorney Letitia James appealed. The plaintiffs, including Republican State Senator George Borrello, now plan to take this to the state's highest court.
And now this law is in effect that they can pretty much round your ass up if any contagious disease will tell you you can't come to your house. Now, we all know the effects of COVID. The effects and how we reacted to COVID is you know, unfortunately, a lot of people died from the actual disease, and we all know that, and we all know the numbers. But the actual effects of what it did to businesses, guys, I don't know about you, but after COVID, that is, and I'm, as a bus driver, I'm telling you, I see it every day. Mental health is through the roof. There are literally a lot more crazy people on the streets than there were doing before COVID. It's like, you know how AC, BC, yeah, it's like before COVID and after COVID. I'm telling you, after COVID, it seems like everyone just lost their marbles, man. So we all know the effects of what shutdowns and lockdowns and scarcity of food and scarcity of jobs and people with no incomes. We all see the effects of that. I just hope that I'm just talking crap and I have no clue what I'm talking about, and that this white lung pneumonia is not a issue, and it won't get to the point where the government our state government feel like they have to quarantine people in either the proverbial, quarantine camps or inside their residence. I just hope we don't get to a place like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you today I'm going to be on some political shit. Please, please, please take that test to see where you land at politically, okay? Because we have to change something. And the Republicans aren't probably that much better, to be honest with you. We're just kind of all screwed. We really are. All right, so now New York is in the news again for something else. Okay. I told you in the Thanksgiving drive-by that I wasn't going to talk about the Puff Daddy and the Cassidy case. Because honestly, you can go to any other podcast and you can find out everybody's thoughts and everyone's gossiping about it. The podcast I pulled up on, we was talking about it. And I don't know when that episode's going to drop, though. The Notorious is slow. You might watch it in January. But they're on point because since the initial lawsuit, the new lawsuit that Cassidy had filed against, Sean Combs, P-Diddy, about, allegations of, sexual misconduct and sexual behavior and, stuff like that, they settled for unclosed amount of money. Now, when she brought the lawsuit against him, she was trying to get $30 million. And I guess he was like, no. So they huddled up and I'm going to say, yeah, it's coming. He said, take that. I had to. There's no way I was going to get that bar out. It was in here. I had to get it out. So they settled. But here's what happened since they settled. That case. What happened since they settled that case? Okay. Then he gets hit with 2. Not 1, but 2 more lawsuits filed in the New York Supreme Court. And it was him and his then business partner, I believe his name was Harvey Pierre. And here's what he got accused of. He got accused of drugging and sexually assaulting one woman in 1991. I'm going to take a sip. I'm going to throw this jar. And he attacked and sexually assaulted another woman around 1990 and 1991, allegedly. Now, of course, Diddy's like, I didn't do all that. So, let's talk about Cassidy. Then we're going to talk about these 2 other cases. Then we're going to talk about why these cases and how they pertain to New York, the state of New York. Diddy gave Cassie money to go away. And if you're on the internet, everyone is saying that P. Diddy is into some freaky stuff. Now, I ain't going to lie to you. Sometimes you think people are just trolling and people are just having a good time because, rappers, they from the culture, they're snapping and everyone got jokes. But no, it seems like Diddy might be what he is, and I'm not judging. Maybe he bats for both sides of the team. Who knows? But I do know, or do feel, or this is my opinion, that he settled that case ASAP with Cassie, not because he did it. I'm not here to say if he did it. I'm not a judge to say he did it or not. It's because he was doing some freaky stuff, and he know if he took that case to trial, all that freaky stuff he's into is gonna come out. Whether he won or lose, everyone's gonna know. This, everyone's gonna know, like the White Howard said, they're gonna know what P. Diddy does with his wood. So I think he settled just to say, nah, chill. Let me not get that out. Let me huddle up with the legal team and make that go away. But then after he did that, 2 more allegations of sexual assault came out from the early 90s. Now, P. Diddy used to be a party promoter in the early 90s. I know him and Heavy D used to do shows. There's one infamous, I believe it was 1991 or 1992, December 28th. I don't forget it because it was my birthday, when he did something in City College and a couple of people died because they got trampled and fire exits and just things of that nature. So, I know that happened back in the day. So I know Puff has been in the mix with the hip hop culture since the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, he's an icon. So now he has these 2 more sexual assault that are being filed against him. I believe Jamie Foxx also has a sexual assault that someone is coming forward and saying that he allegedly sexual assaults him. Eric Adams has someone who alleges that he did sexual assault to them back in the day. So people are kind of getting these sexual assault cases out in droves in the New York court system. Why? Here's why. Governor Holcomb had a law and I'm going to break it down to you. Okay, so there was a law signed by New York State Governor Kathy Hochul on May 24th of 2022 last year, and it went into effect on November 24th. Okay, so you following me? She signed a law, and it's called the Adult Survivors Act, and it was signed on May 24th, 2022, and it went into effect November 24th, 2022. So, what is this law about? So, Kathy Hochul signed the Adult Survivor Act, creating a 1-year look-back window for survivors of sexual assault that occurred when they were over the age of 18 to sue their abusers, regardless of when the abuse occurred. So, that's why all these lawsuits. So, I know a lot of brothers say, hey, man, you see how they just taking them to court and just suing them trying to get money? Yeah, because according to this law, you could take them back and you could sue them. You can't pursue criminal charges, but you could sue them. So that's why it seems like a lot of big wigs are getting sued, and these ladies who said they did these alleged things are coming for their money. Now, this is what Kathy Hochul said at the time. Today we take an important step to improve survivors across New York to use their voices and hold their abusers accountable. The fight against sexual assault requires us to recognize the impact of trauma within our justice system. I am proud to sign this legislation, which is a part of our collective responsibility to protect one another and create an environment that makes survivors feel safe. While our work is not done, eradicating sexual assault begins with our abilities to bring the perpetrators of these heinous crimes to justice, and the legislation is a historic step forward in that regard. So, that was last year when she signed it. So why are these people coming forth? Because it is set to expire. It was set to expire. Mind you, all these cases came like 2 weeks ago. I'm recording this show on a December 1st. The last week of November was literally last week. And that's when all these flooded cases were hitting the New York court system, because the Adult Survivor Act was set to expire, and voila. And all it took was Cassidy. Once people seen that Cassidy settled, chicks that probably in their mid-40s or almost 50 or in their mid-50s, they're like, yeah, I did remember that one time in Nels that P-Diddy touched my kneecap, and they go into court ASAP. Now, here's how I look at it, and here's my opinion on this. And like I said, this is a show where I give an opinion nobody asked for. Here it goes. Men in power do some grimy stuff, bro. It just is what it is. Let's be clear. Men in power sometimes do grimy stuff to females, because when you're a man of power and you have money and you feel like you can get away with certain things, bro, you're going to try to get away with certain things. We all know the story of Harvey Weinstein, how he made women give him sexual favors for years to appear in certain movie roles and etc. So we know this is not uncommon. We all know the story of Jeffrey Epstein and his island, and we all know the amount of powerful men and elected officials and hedge funds managers and owners and billionaires that used to fly out to that not only to have sexual escapade with women per se, but a lot of those girls, as we come to find out, were underage girls. So men in power do things that us everyday citizens probably can't even fathom or understand, right? So I don't want to be that person to automatically assume that a woman is lying just because she took X amount of years to file or accuse someone of doing something to her that was wrong sexually. Because to be honest with you, she could be telling the truth. She really can. Or she could be lying. Now, we all know what happened to Bill Cosby when all these women came out and alleged that he did certain things to him, and he did a little stint in jail for it, but then because of a loophole, he's now out, and I probably don't think, Mr. Cosby's going back in. We all know about R. Kelly. We all do. And if we're being honest, people of my generation, when that video, when there was a rumor, this was way before the internet, when that rumor came out, that R. Kelly had a video and he was peeing on chicks, man, every barbershop in the hood was selling that damn video, and 90% of us was buying that shit. Me and my girlfriend at the time watched the video. So I'm just saying to say, we all know that these things happen and these things exist. But let's go to the flip side of that. What happens when a woman brings up or accuses a man of status and wealth of sexually assaulting her, and it turns out that is a full fabrication. That is just a goddamn lie, that he never did it. Guys, I don't know if you ever heard of a baseball player named Trevor Bauer, but if you didn't, you're listening to the right podcast, because I'm going to tell you about Trevor Bauer and what's going on in his story. Now, who's Trevor Bauer, Marks? Who are you talking about? Give me 1 sec, and I'm going to tell you. Give me 1 sec, and I will tell you exactly who Trevor Bauer is. Okay, so let's get into this Trevor Bauer case, okay? So, Marcus, who's Trevor Bauer? Who are you talking about? Okay, so now Trevor Bauer was a Major League Baseball player, and I believe he played for the Cleveland Indians at one point. So what happened to Trevor Bauer was a couple of years ago, a young woman said that Trevor Bauer sexually assaulted her. And, of course, he denied it right off the bat. And she said that he was having rough sexual intercourse with her against her permission. So the team that he was playing for at the time suspended him for X amount of games. So what did Mr. Bauer do when he got suspended? He appealed it, of course, because Major League Baseball has a really good union, and they cut down the amount of games that he was suspended. But that was all to do about nothing. What eventually ended up happening to Mr. Bauer was that he was let go from the team that he was playing for. Now, fast forward to literally a month ago, a little over a month ago, Bauer sued. Bauer and the young lady settled their lawsuit. But here's the trippy thing about it. Bauer didn't have to pay the young lady any money, and the young lady didn't have to pay Bauer a dime. But when all the discovery of this particular case came out, it seemed like the young lady was out to get Bauer from the get. There was text messages of her saying to her girlfriend how she was going to back her, the star player of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and her friend responded with something like, "Bitch, get the bag," or something like that. Trevor Bauer released a video of all the discovery that at the time when he first was in this trial that he couldn't release. And I believe that if he was able to release all this discovery at the time of the initial case, that it would have cleared his name.
Victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. "What should I steal?" she asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? "I'm going to his house Wednesday," she said. "I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll." Then, after the first time we met, "Net worth is 51 mil, she said. "Bitch, you better secure the bag," was the response. But how is she going to do that? "Need daddy to choke me out," she said. "Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nicks told her, "You got to get this bag." "I'll give you 50,000, Lindsey replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, "Do you feel a tiny bit guilty?" "Not really," she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us. After hearing the evidence available to her,
clearly you see that this man was accused of something that he did not do. But here's the sad part about his story. He's still not playing in Major League Baseball. I believe he's overseas playing with China or Korea or one of their Major League Baseball teams over there. So just the fact that someone alleged that he did something to them in a sexual manner and he has the proof to clear his name. And the reason why he sued this young lady was not for monetary. I mean, he's a Major League Baseball player. He has the money. I believe he even said, I'll spend every penny that I have just to show you that I did not do these things that I was accused of. And then when it comes out that he clearly was set up by this young lady to be a money grab, that people are still not touching him. It doesn't appear that any Major League Baseball team has reached out to Trevor Bauer and tried to bring him on an active roster. Now, this current baseball season is over, so I don't, hopefully next year it could be a different story, being that the details of what really happened has come to surface, and it seems like that he was set up. So when it comes to these allegations of sexual misconduct, hey, let's be honest. Sometimes they're real. Like I said, men in power do some real trippy greaseball stuff that the everyday person is not privy to. So it's not anything that's not imaginable. I can see it happening, that dudes with money just they feel like they can do whatever they do. I mean, think about, man, Russell Simmons, man, when he had money, man, he was going after Kamora Lee when he was like 32. She was like 17, 16, bro. It's just what they do. But on the flip side of that is that sometimes, bro, some of these chicks, they just lie, and they're just trying to get men for their money. And when they see a baller, or they see, they see a rapper, they see an entertainer, man, them chicks ain't looking for love. They're looking for a lawsuit. They're looking for something. They're looking for bread. So that's why I mean it's always 50-50. I try to see both sides. So we'll see how that pans out for Trevor Bauer. Hopefully next season he's on a new team. As far as P-Diddy, man, I mean, listen, I'm a guy of a certain age. I grew up on bad boy music. That is like literally the soundtrack to every chick I fell in love with in my 20s and my teens. When I wanted to be a rapper, every rapper I emulated or idolized was on Bad Boy. So the way it seems like he's going out is low-key sad if he didn't do these things, and it's even sadder if he did do these things, because as of this recording, I believe he had to step down as a chairman for Revolt Television. And, 50 is trolling the hell out of him. 50 said, let me buy that on the cheap, bro. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. And it seems like he had to step down as the figurehead of some of the New York City charter schools that he started back in the day as well. So I don't know if this is the fall of Diddy. Like I said, sometimes when things like this happen, I always got this motto, let's see how it plays out. But right now it's playing out pretty ugly for him, to be honest with you. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the show's almost wrapped up. Let's get into a positive note, because, Christmas is almost here, man. I might give y'all 2 more shows. You're definitely getting 1 more show before we go on our Christmas, New Year hiatus. I'm going to try to do 2 more, but you're going to get at least 1 more, because I love y'all. I do. I do it for y'all, baby. All right, so positive note. What's a positive note of the day? The positive note is this, that 6-year-olds are amazing. Now, my 6-year-old is amazing. She can sing. She's a fashionista. She makes clothes. And I hope if she's ever put in a situation where she had to do what this young 6-year-old girl did, that she would, do the right thing. And that's why parenting is important. I tell you, you got to teach it. You be surprised if you teach them young what they could do. So anyway, 6-year-old Mississippi girl, she was honored for this month because she helped save her mom's life. How did she save her mother's life? Okay, so Brianna Cook was recognized this month at a ceremony, and also the 911 operator, Latoya Malone, was also honored in Mississippi. And here's how these 2 are connected. So the 6-year-old girl was in the car with her mother. Now, apparently, the mom turned ill literally while driving the car. She had a stroke. She had a seizure doing, their road trip or wherever they was going, and the car went off into the road. So Brianna had been traveling to her grandmother's home with her mom, Yolanda Jackson Cook, behind the wheel on October 23rd, when her mom suddenly experienced a stroke and a seizure. I was scared when I looked around. We was in the woods. Now, mind you, a 6-year-old little girl, and you're in the woods and it's dark. 6 years old. This had to be the most frightening thing for little mama. And we just fell off the road, and my mom couldn't wake up or respond. So not only are you in the pitch dark woods, you can't even get mama up. And honestly, she probably don't notice because she's 6, but as an adult, you think, well, damn, How's there even going to be any phone reception over there? But good thing that it was. So the young girl said she called the grandmother. Then grandma said, baby girl, call 911. And Miss Malone, who also got recognized that day too, happened to be the one who picked up the young girl's 911 call. Now, why is she getting recognized? She's getting recognized because her shift was pretty much over. But that 911 operator stood on the phone call with that little girl way beyond the time she was supposed to clear. And she wouldn't leave the phone with that little girl until first responders pulled up on the scene. And mind you, they pulled off into the woods somewhere. So it was hard for them to get found. It wasn't just like they was on a road and the hazard light was on. No, it took some time for them to find the pinpoint to location of where the young girl and her mom was at. So the 911 operator said, yo, listen, I had Brianna on the phone trying to get her to check on her mom to see what was wrong and what was happening. And she said that her mom got sick and they ran off the road. Okay, the search and rescue team took a team effort as first responders, looked around the counties for over 2 hours. It took her 2 hours. Well past Malone's shift ended. But Malone said she was determined to stay on the line with Brianna until the help arrived, and it finally did, and she did. And the young lady and the 911 operator were both awarded in Mississippi, and they both was courageous. The operator went well beyond the duty. The little girl stepped up. Mom seems to be okay. I hope whatever's going on or whatever is triggering those seizures in her, I hope, the doctors found it and could kind of keep it under control. Because I can, I have a family member that used to have seizures back in the day when we were younger. This is my brother. My older brother used to have seizures, man, back in the day. And I can tell you, man, it's not a pretty sight. And I was young then. And I'm telling you, when you see them go to that episode, you don't know what to do. So now, mind you, I was a teenager at that point. Imagine a 6-year-old, So salute to this little girl for stepping up and saving mommy's life and having the wherewithal to call grandma and doing what grandma told her to do. And shout out to the 911 operator who went well beyond the duty. My good people, Christmas is upon us. It is December. Yeah, man. I know when you get off work and it's 4:15 and the lights is out in the streets and it's mad dark. You just want to go home, man. You really do, because it's the winter, man. And I hate all you people that live in states where it's just warm 10 months out of 12. I'm really hating on you guys. But what I'm not hating on is you guys continuing to watch my show and to continue to support me. So as always, man, I just want to say thank you guys. I will see you guys for episode number 27. Hopefully I get 28 because my birthday is December. You know what? I guarantee. Oh, damn, I told myself I wasn't going to make any more guarantees. I will guarantee this. Don't Kill the Messenger podcast guarantee. I will give you guys 2 more shows before the end of the year, just so we can end it off on 28, which is a magical number because your boy birthday is on December 28th. So, my good people, as always, I want you to go out there. I want you to love yourself, you knucklehead, and then love others, especially those that deserve it, okay? If you got your wife, you got your kids, love them. They love you. And more importantly, people, Christmas is upon us. Love God. I know he wasn't born on December 25th, but he was born somewhere. That's when we're going to celebrate it, all right? So love yourself, love others, and love God. As always, my people, thanks for watching Don't Kill the Messenger podcast. This was episode number 26, and I will definitely see you for episode number 27. Peace. God bless you guys.